the primitive forms of artificial intelligence we already have proved very useful.
AI is a golden opportunity.
How do we ensure that this technology is regulated?
The long arc of technological history is now in an extraordinary new phase.
The AI6 podcast with Joanne Sweeney.
Well, Julie, thank you so much for joining me on AI6, the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me, Joanne.
Well, I have to say, this is the first time I've had a comedian on AI6, but tell people who you are and what you do, because you do a lot.
I think the podcast will just be a list of what I do if we do everything. So what I will say is I'm a GM of a national company, and I'm also on the side, I'm a comedian. I absolutely love it. And then in my spare time, I am a mentor for women. So I mentor women in business.
And that's how I know you. Well, obviously, I knew you first through your comedy on my social feeds, but through Network Galway, which is a brilliant, brilliant group. But we're here to talk about AI, right? We're here to talk about AI. When were you introduced to artificial intelligence? When did that kind of come on your radar?
It's really come on my radar in the last couple of months. I mean, I've always been like, we've all had ChatGPT and kind of had that for quite a while on our phones and our apps. But in terms of intense use, it's your fault. So when I got your book, I started playing with it a little bit more. But I have to say, going to your talk on AI really just blew it wide open for me. And I've always prided myself of being like an early adopter of technology. So when we had that talk and we had that engagement, I was like, I have to get all over this. And I just started playing with it. So really, only in the last 2 months, really, that I've been so into it. Yeah.
And that's the thing. And that's what I try and teach is the potential and the capability. And I can only guide you. But in that room, the ideas started to blossom because you know your own business, your own intellect, your own, industry the best. And it's you that can come up with the best use cases. And for somebody who is techie, other people might be listening to this and go, well, it's okay for her. She knows her way around a computer or maybe the back end of a website. What would you say to them?
You don't have to. That's the beauty of AI. AI is just like having all the brains of a company in one space to say, help me with this and give it direction. So when I use, my favorite app is Claude. And when I use Claude, it's like having a conversation. So people will often say, AI is not always correct and stuff. And it's no different. I compare it to going to a library. If I went into a library and read something in a book, I still need to go and confirm that information. And sometimes I need to guide Claude and say, yeah, that's great, but can we go back to this? Or can you look at this a little bit deeper? Or that doesn't feel right to me. Can we have a conversation around that? So Claude is only going to ever be as good as the questions I ask and the information that I'm looking for. But I'm always double checking it as well. So it's down to the user and just play with it. Have a little bit of fun.
And so how practically are you using this? Give us some examples of how it's helping you.
Oh my goodness. I started using it. I was launching my comedy gig and I said, hey, can you help me with wording on how I'm going to launch it? Can you help me put something together with how I'm going to sell the tickets? So I wanted to use Ticket Tailor and I was like, educate me. How am I going to use Ticket Tailor? And that was amazing for me because Claude was able to give me all these tips and tricks and advice. And here's the best platform to sell your event on. And the beauty of it was I was able to say to Claude, I'm Jules Rules IRL. Claude was able to go off to the internet and pull as much information as it could about me. And it was okay, I know who you are now. And that's in seconds. We're not talking weeks or months or years where you're trying to build up relationships with companies. I mean, within seconds, Claude had me pegged and went, right, I know exactly who you are. Let's go. It was amazing.
And you're a small business owner and, I run my small business too. And the capability to be able to keep things in-house and not to have to outsource it is a game changer. So our small businesses really have financial potential if we embrace this technology.
I think for €22 a month, I pay for Claude because, again, I'm always saying to people, if you get something for free, you're the product. If you want to pay for something, then you can protect your information. So I pay for the service. It's €22 a month. And in that package, I have a personal assistant. I have a managing consultant. I have a marketing consultant. I have a banking consultant. I can have whatever I want within that app. It is amazing. And can we please talk about Notes LM? Can we please talk about Notebook LM? Because I'm all over Notebook LM. I was going to an event a couple of weeks ago and I didn't really know much about the place that I was going to. So I said to Notes LM, hey, tell me everything you know about this place. They put together a podcast. So it's an AI podcast. Within about 2 minutes, I had an AI podcast. I'm sitting on the train. I popped in my earphones and I'm listening to this whole conversation that was generated within minutes about the place I was going to. And did you know this? And did you know that? And I was able to actually even write a few little jokes about that to help me prep for the event. Notes LM, please, if you have a child or somebody studying or going through their leaving certificate, download Notes LM. Absolute game changer for me.
And you are, I know from our conversations, you have a positive attitude towards artificial intelligence. And some people are very nervous and skeptical. They're fear about losing their job. They're, have moral issues around the owners of it, the environmental impacts, the fact that it hallucinates. But how do you kind of negotiate that in your own head and looking at all the negatives that come with AI?
I've worked with plenty of people that have hallucinated, so that doesn't concern me one slight bit. But what I can say with absolute confidence is we've had these conversations about every single new piece of technology that has ever been introduced. Are there concerns? Of course they are. Can these things be used for good and bad? Absolutely. But so could Excel. I could use Excel to do a set of accounts, or I could use Excel to do a head count that is a way of managing people in a toxic way in the workforce. So every piece of technology that's introduced, there's always that resistance of the sky is falling. I firmly believe that we have to embrace these new technologies. When Excel first came out, people thought that was it. That's the end of accountants. It didn't happen. And it's the same with AI. AI is us plus better, as you've said so yourself. It has enhanced what I'm doing. So I'm no worse for it. I'm absolutely the better for it. Absolutely. And honestly, the only thing I've said to anybody that is curious about AI is just have fun with it. Do something with it that has no major investment in it for you. Get comfortable with using AI and you will see what we're talking about when it comes to how it can actually help you in your life. Like to have a personal assistant on an app to say, hey, don't let me forget that I have a podcast with Joanne Sweeney today. Please make sure that's in my diary. And it's like, yeah, sure, Julie. Do you want me to put that in your Google Calendar? Yeah, thanks a million, Claude. That's amazing. That's incredible to have that type of technology at my fingertips and it's on my phone.
And as women and as men too, we're busy, but women are often the jugglers. We're juggling the caring responsibilities. We're self-employed or we've got a full-time job. We're also taxi driver to the children and we live with overwhelm and probably many times in our lives we suffer burnout. I think this is a real gift to women. And I've said this in many of my talks, especially when I'm talking to women in business. This is a gift to you and you can scale your business. And for me, I want to go down to ultimately a 3-day week. That's one of my goals. I can expand my business, but work less. Would you agree with that in terms of even now being right in and using it every day? Can you see the potential it has for you, your business and your comedy?
Absolutely. And I want to make very clear, AI is not going to replace creativity because creativity is always happening around us. I'm not using AI to write my comedy. I'm using AI to help me market my comedy or help me do this with my comedy or help me set up Ticket Tailor. But do you want a real example of how I've used this as a woman that has been an absolute game changer? I went into Claude and I said, hey, Claude, listen, come here, love. We need to have a little conversation, Claude. I've gained an extra few pounds, Claude. And Julie wants to look a little bit better. And I want to feel a little better. I'm feeling sluggish. I told Claude my height, my weight, and my age. I said, Claude, help me lose weight with a realistic diet plan that I can stick to with exercise and thing. Claude, within 90 seconds, had sent me a full food plan for a week, the shopping list, an actual shop. So I didn't have to think about anything. I printed it off. I went to the supermarket. I bought my ingredients. I've lost 8 pounds. So You tell me whether Claude is my best friend or not, because Claude is now my personal trainer as well. Sent me the whole lot, my exercises, what I need to do, track my weight, track my plan, track my walking, track my exercise, track my water. That is, to me, a gift to myself. So yes, I'm using Claude absolutely for my own personal well-being as well. I think it's amazing. Amazing.
You're really squeezing that 22 quid a month out of it, aren't you?
Listen. I'm not squeezing 22 quid a month out of it. I'm getting about 2.5 grand's worth out of Claude. Like, Claude is working for Julie. And I just can't tell you how much of an enhancement. And that's just in my personal life. In my work life, I have obviously used Claude in a professional setting. And I have bounced ideas off Claude, or I've said, hey, give me the research on this or give me the research on that. Again, I'm the one that's deciding how I use that information. But I have found it to be invaluable to me. It has saved me hours of research, of digging into things that I need to get stuck into. Like that just presents me with the information and then I do with it what I want. It's amazing.
Like, I will
It's
say,
amazing.
and I don't think I've said it before, but I'll say it to you because, you know, I like you and I trust you. I know there's a few other people listening, but I think I've got smarter because the
Yeah.
ability to
Yeah.
learn
Absolutely.
in depth.
Like we're learning, it's presenting more information to us, Joanne. So it's actually telling us. So if I went to a library today and I wanted to learn everything there is to know about dinosaurs, I have to sit down and I have to read through tons and tons and tons and tons of books to become an expert on the subject, right? I can say to Claude, hey Notes LM, tell me everything there is to know about dinosaurs. And within seconds, it can actually take all that information, distill it down, give me the key information. And then I can say, hey, that piece is really interesting. Tell me more. I really want to know more about pterodactyls. Never knew it was started with a silent P. That's really interesting. So like all that type of information is literally at my fingertips in seconds with illustrations. And what I love about Notes LM is it acknowledges the fact that we all don't learn the same, Joanne. And I think that really hits on that point because if you have a child that has autism or dyslexia or ADHD, we all learn in a different way. I'm a visual learner. I need something to tell me a story. So I love that it has like mind maps and things that I can look at it at a glance and pick up the pieces of information. Somebody else might be better listening, so they have the auditory. Somebody else might be better with the flashcards. It gives me all of those options. Not one, but 10 options, 10 ways to learn that information. So absolutely, it makes me smarter.
One of the earliest episodes of this podcast was titled AI Shame. And when I went to Harvard last summer, of course, I dropped that wee nugget into as many podcasts as I can. There was there was no AI shame in America. Like they had no AI shame. In Harvard, they were saying our first drafts of code, of copy, of anything is done with AI. And then I step in. I meet a lot of people who have AI shame. Like they judge you if you're using AI. They think that, you know, your critical thinking is going to be impacted. If you're a creator, like, you know, I'm a writer, and you're a writer and you're a performer, you know, there's a judgment happening. How do we get around that?
I think that people, I think it's the same when we're looking at people with weight loss, when people say, oh, well, that person went off and had surgery, so that means they're lazy when it comes to weight loss. Absolutely not. There are cases for everything. And I think it can be used in a lazy way, like the stories that we've heard. And I think some of those stories get very much sensationalized, but the actual amazing stories where AI is leading the charge is not being highlighted. Like AI is used for facial recognition. They have found missing children from this. They have found missing people. AI is discerning crimes. AI is helping solve crime. Like, there are amazing things that AI is doing, but it's the same as any other piece of technology. I could be a criminal with my phone if I want to. So it's the exact same approach to me with anything. You can use it for good or you can use it for bad. I have no shame in saying I use AI. I am in love with AI. I use it for good. I use it to inspire me. I use it to, hey, bounce this idea off or give me some information on this. Or even if I'm going to buy a car, I'm going to ask AI, give me the best quotes, give me the best deals. What's the best car for me? And that's the difference. It's not about AI saying, oh, but it's going to push this car on you, Julie, whatever. No, because I still have my own critical thinking skills to go, I don't want that car. I want a car that has a long boot, or I want a car that has, a longer distance in the battery. I'm looking at electric. I'm looking at hybrid. Give me options. Again, you have a mind of your own. And it's no different to people saying, influencers are not doing a great job on the internet. I would argue that we need to start having more conversations at home. Like if people in your home are being influenced by people on the internet, that's a different conversation. People are out doing what they're going to do. It's up to you to have those critical thinking skills and go, do you know what? Maybe I'm just going to use my own brain here and decide what's best for me.
Do you think it's enhanced your creativity?
It's absolutely, because it's freed up time for me to be creative. So in a lot of those moments where, like that, if I was researching, I booked the comedy gig, and I was able to use AI to help me make that decision. Where's the best place to go? Where has the maximum capacity for that? Give me the list of hotels in these different areas. Give me options. And then I was like, okay, I'll call these places. I'll have a conversation with them. So it freed up that time. So instead of me spending hours on the internet looking up all this information and reading through it and it was presented to me in seconds, and I was able to make decisions in seconds as opposed to hours. So now those hours were spent being creative. And so we launched a brand new character. Hello? That was because I had more time.
Yeah. And do you ever think at any stage you will launch your digital twin, the mammy that we love on the internet? Do you think that it'll always be Jules, or might it be somebody else? Your digital twin.
I already am a twin, so I think there's enough when there's two of us out there, to be honest. But I definitely don't see myself having a digital twin yet. Would I be open to it? Yes, because I believe you never say never. You have to be open to new possibilities. But I personally feel that that's what makes us special. We're all so different. Even as a twin, we're different. We're unique in ourselves. And I think it's important to celebrate that. And there's digitals out there and options, but there's only one Jules Rose. Let's be honest.
And let's put something in perspective now, because the way that you turned around the intention of having a live show, putting everything together behind the scenes, launching it and selling it out within 7 days, that probably wouldn't have happened, not because you're not funny and we all want to be at your show, but you didn't have to outsource it, financial investment, the worry of all that commitment to professionals, to hiring. What role did AI play in kind of accelerating that for you from I want to do it to it being a reality?
I didn't have to engage with somebody. I didn't have to employ somebody. As you said, you're 100% right. It didn't cost me a few thousand to get it out there. It cost me maybe a couple of hours in the evening of my time, where I just showed some commitment to it and went with it. And once I made the decision that I was going to do that gig, that was it. But you're 100% right in that AI helped me with all of that, because it walked me through the steps of something that I had no knowledge of. And I was able to do the whole thing by myself, beginning, middle and end. And even when I did hit little barriers along the way, I was back to Claude. Hey, Claude, this isn't working for me. Can you help me with that? Or, hey, Claude, this isn't working for me. Can you help me with that? It's amazing. And it saved me time and money. And it did mean that I was able to just launch the event and not have to worry about it. Now, I am going to be honest and say, I genuinely thought I'm going to be flogging these tickets all summer. I'm going to be selling this gig all summer long. And the fact that it sold out in 7 days was it blew my mind. Absolutely blew my mind. But again, I was able to pitch it, launch it and sell it in a way that made it successful. And that was because it was done in such a professional way, with the help of AI helping me set up my ticket tailor, connecting all those dots and making it all very secure and password protected. And then I was able to just move on and forget about it. It was great.
Well, the other way that artificial intelligence is helping you is that whenever I open up my phone for Instagram in the evening and I sit on my sofa, you're the first person that comes up. And I'm just going to do an experiment, and it probably won't work now, but if I open my Instagram, will Jules Rules come up? No, it's Foxy Laura. And I think their new show.
Foxy Laura. Well, listen, we're not going to complain if it's Foxy Laura now, in all fairness.
Good Galway girl, right?
But exactly. I suppose, like, it's like anything. What you get in this world is what you put out into this world. I talk about social media the same way I do with AI. If you are going to be negative on AI and look for things that are negative, it's going to present that to you and continue to. But if you're looking for things that are positive and lift you up and make you laugh, then that's what you're going to find. So it's all about what you curate for yourself on all of these apps and technology. And if you use it in a positive way, it can have such an incredible impact on your life.
Are we going to get more characters introduced to us? You've got to give my podcast an exclusive now. Come on, give me something.
I'm going to give you an exclusive. We're booking another gig. How's that for an exclusive?
Oh my God. Congratulations. And you're absolutely dead right to do that, because guess what?
Yeah.
Sold out in 7 days. I think I bought 4 tickets, and I think there was only about 14 or something left. Yeah. So
Greedy.
I was thrilled. Well, congratulations. And I'm so glad that you did it, because the market demand is there. But I'm sure it's scary, right?
I have to be honest, I can't lie. I don't get scared. I don't get scared. I think you hit a point in your life, Joanne. Maybe you're not there yet, but I've hit that point in my life where I just don't have time to be scared. I don't have time to be nervous. I don't have time to delay or doubt. All I have is every single day to me that's in front of me is an absolute gift. And I'm going to do as much as I possibly can with every single one of them. I'm going to have fun. I'm going to be kind. I'm going to laugh. I'm going to spend time with my family and friends. And I love making other people laugh as well. And like, that's just my spare time. I mean, I have a full-time job as well on top of all of this that I absolutely adore. So and a husband and children and dogs and the whole 9 yards. So look, I love what I do, and I'm full of energy every day, and I want to use every last bit of it, and I want to fall into bed every night exhausted. And that to me is a good day.
Oh, I've got goosebumps. These polka dots that you see in my arms now are the goosebumps. I'm a huge fan. I thoroughly enjoy the characters and the side eye and the digs and the Irish compliments that would cut you in half. And people have reached out to me from America going, "There's this Irish comedian you should follow." And I was like, sorry, she's top of my feed every time I open my app. But you are entertaining the world at a time when it's tricky, right? I mean, the world is tricky right now. And what you give, we really appreciate, because you're definitely my daily shot of joy. That's free, and it goes right into my veins, and it really uplifts me. So from everybody, thanks for raising us up and keeping us going, because your videos, how many original pieces of content are you putting out every week?
Every week, I would say I average between 4 to 5, but I have to quantify that by saying when I don't feel creative, I don't put out. So I don't put out something if I don't feel it's right. I have deleted content, and I'll usually record in the morning between 7 and 7:30, and I'll usually have had a repository of ideas. But if I'm recording and it's just not working, I drop it and I move on with my day. I don't get frustrated with it. Creativity has to come naturally to you. And that's the one thing I would say to anyone if you're in this journey or you're trying to be creative online. If it's not working, drop it and let it go. It's not worth your stress. It's not worth relationships at home or family or getting upset with people, or if people are interrupting. Like, if I'm here and I'm recording and one of the kids walks in, I'm just like, yeah, what's the story? I'll just drop what I'm doing, because, that matters to me more. And that's why I do it first thing in the morning when it's quiet and nobody's kind of looking for me. But if it doesn't work, I drop it. And sometimes I've gone weeks without posting as well, especially after Christmas. Christmas time is very important to me. It's a very special holiday. And so we really everybody downs tools and we just spend a week watching movies, fire on, hot chocolate. That's what matters to me. And connection online is lovely, but at the end of the day, it is social media. And if you don't manage social media will absolutely manage you. So, I'm very mindful of the fact that even though I am on social media, I'm actually not somebody that's on my phone all the time. I have certain moments of the day that I'm on it, and that's it.
Yeah. And, Jules Rules is there. Do people love her? Does she get any hate?
I do get some comments, but I don't engage with it. So I don't get as much as what other people tend to get. I see some creators and that's all they get. But then they engage with that and they court that kind of content and they respond to nasty comments and they put people on blast. And I think that is part of the problem. And I'm not saying at all in any way, shape or form that anyone deserves that. I think it's disgusting. And I do think we should do more to make people accountable for that type of behavior. But I don't entertain it to myself personally. And I will not entertain it to anyone that follows me either. So if I see somebody put up a nasty comment under somebody else's comment, I will immediately delete their comment and block that person from my page, because you're not welcome where we are. We are a nice little positive safe space in the internet where we all just want to have fun. And I have to say, in most of it, like I would say about 98% of it is extremely positive. And I would even go as far as to say the people that follow me are so nice to each other. They're always, oh, I just had a baby and I'm watching your content and I'm having a laugh. And then people say, oh my God, congratulations on your baby. Did you have a boy or a girl? And I'm reading the comments going, oh my God, this is so lovely. So that's the type of space we've created.
Yeah, you've created somewhere where we're going for joy and nobody's going to take it away at any cause. So final question. No. What would you say to fellow female entrepreneurs who feel scared about AI and that it's going to displace them in some way and feel that they're not techie? What would you say to them?
I would say go back and look at what happened when the internet first launched. Everyone was convinced that PAs were going to be out of jobs. Everyone was convinced that admin roles would be gone. That didn't happen. If anything, it just enhanced our capabilities in that area. And it's the same with AI now. Like, don't be afraid of something. If anything, embrace it, play with it, have fun with it. It's not going to displace you. There are certain roles that will, when new technology comes out, or even in manufacturing, sometimes it can replace the role. If you go into a supermarket now, you see less people on the tills because now we have self-checkout, and people went, oh, stop using self-checkout. It's getting rid of cashiers. But it creates other jobs. Like, this is my point, is there's always a need for something else. And like, AI is never going to fully replace humans, because at the end of the day, we need the human engagement for AI to work. So don't be afraid of it. Embrace it. And like, there's going to be other opportunities that are going to be born out of it. Like 20 years ago, there's a ton of jobs that we could list right now that never even existed before technology became a thing. So, we have to embrace new technology and go with it and see where it takes us. And again, it's all about how you use it.
Well, Jules Rules, aka Julie Burke, thank you so much for joining me on AI6. Where can people buy tickets for your second debut show?
Well, it's yet to be announced. You got one exclusive. You're not getting two. It's yet to be announced. But what I will say to people is, if you want early access, join the mailing list. I really only decided to do this because I got so many disappointed emails of people saying, I missed it. I know you announced it, but I missed it. And I'm not on social media very often. And how can I get these tickets now? And I'm like, I'm so sorry, but we're sold out. So join the mailing list and I will do exactly what I did last time. I will release those tickets to my mailing list people first. So you'll get a special email to say, here's the link, get in there and buy those tickets. And other than that, then I'll release the rest to the world and their mother. And then it's game on. It's fastest finger first.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much for joining me on the podcast and just having this open conversation about what you think of AI, how you're using it, and your encouragement to others, because I know that's a big part of what your drive is building up other women, and we appreciate you.
Right back at you.